Hey everybody, it's TJW the author, and today I am here with my very first author tip video. So, if I did not explain this, my author tip video series or part of the channel is for me to give you people who are aspiring authors or people who are authors who just kind of like need a little bit of like advice or whatever. This is where this is supposed to happen. A little about myself. I am a self-published author. I started writing in January 2015. So for 2 years now, I have been writing books. But in the last 2 years, I've written 7 books, and I'm on my 8th book. My book started off, and this is how you clearly see your progress. My book started off very, very short, very, very small. This right here is my very first book, Answers in the River. I did the cover. I did not do the editing. I did not do the layouting. I didn't do anything. If layouting is the word, then yeah. But yeah. So this book is approximately 46 pages long, and this is my. Oh my gosh, I wrote that. Like, people love the story in it, but I'm just like, ugh, like what? Anyway, so. Answers in the River. It was my first book, and ever since Answers in the River, I've been writing. I've probably come up with a million ideas, but of course, out of those millions of ideas, 1 or 2 probably have stuck with me so far. So to start getting into some of these tips, like today's first author tip is, how do you start writing? Okay, so the answer to that is you write. Like, it's no other explanation for how do you start. You just write. I mean, the best way to start this is like, remember when we were in school and the teachers gave us little, what were those little circles that had like the little shape in the middle and it was the circles on the outside, like the brainstorming thing. You can do that with your writing. So say an idea pops in your head, which usually happens. Like, I'll be sleeping and all of a sudden this crazy story pops in my head and I'm like, ooh, I gotta write that down. That's gonna be my next book. So say a crazy like story pops in your head and like, ooh, I really like this. And then you forget about it the next couple of days. And then like a few days later, you're in the car, you driving, and it's like, oh my gosh, yo, that would be banging to be in that book. So you write that down again and you're like, all right. You forget about it the next couple days, whatever. So then all of a sudden you got this whole notebook of like notes on like what this book could be about. It's all broken down and whatever, but you got ideas. And you're like, oh my God, like I really want to write this book, but I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to write. Listen, you just write. Like, straight up write. I mean, let your fingers tight, whatever. And then what you do is you write, you get as like whatever amount of words you can get out without getting exhausted, you do it. Take a break from it for a few days, a week or 2, maybe 3 months, and then you go back and you start writing again. So once you do that, I'm sorry, this is like the unorganized way, but this is how I function. I'm gonna tell you the other way too. But once you do that and you get the story out and you get it organized and you have an actual foundation of a book, then you get an editor. Editors are important. Proofreaders are important because you don't want to have too little of a book and you don't want to have too much of a book. The very best way to start doing your book is to outline it first. So yeah, you may have all these crazy ideas, but now to organize your ideas, you want to put them in the outline. So what I do is, like, I'm unorganized when it comes to my writing. Like, I literally write off of the top of my head. And then I'll go back later on and reread everything I wrote. So, like, I'm a fan of my own books. And I read everything that I wrote. And then I'll be like, well, this timeline doesn't make sense. Like, the years don't match up. So let me go back. And that's when you start going back and changing stuff. So when you outline, it helps you stay organized as to where you want everything to take place. And then it gives you the opportunity to go back and change that, move it to a different part, you know, because your stories don't have to be in chronological, like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can make your book any way you want to make it, but you want to make sure that the story makes sense and it has a plot. So yeah, so basically, like, to get started being an author, you just want to write. There's no other way to say it. I mean, like I said, I've written 7 books, almost 8 books in the last 2 years, and it's because stories just come left, right, and sideways out of my head. And when I'm ready to write, I write. Like, I mean, I can take breaks. Like, literally, I have this book series, and the one book from I wrote it at the end of right after I graduated with my master's. So at the end of May 2015, I started writing, and then I finished it in October 2015 because I had a lot of time on my hand. Then it was like I did not start or finish the next book to the series until July of 2016. Plus, I was writing another book during the time I was writing that book, which is my book Hashtag, which I just released in December. Well, I released it in December, but I was finished in October. So by me having that stretch of time, it gave me like more ideas for books. So I was writing like 2 books at a time. And I'm doing the same thing now because as I'm writing the 3rd part to the series of this book, which is a standalone book, I'm getting ideas for another book. But like I said, I just write. And even if I start writing the other book, I don't get my characters mixed up because I know how I want my books to go. But I just write. That's pretty much what it is. Like, you go back, you edit later on. You go back, you take the characters out later on. You do all of that stuff. You just want to make sure you have a solid plot. You want to make sure you have a solid story so that you can continue on with making your book. Now, as far as books go, they don't have to be long because then you can have a novella or a novelette. They can be long because then it will be a saga or an epic, wherever way you want to put it. And you write for yourself. You do not have to write for anybody else. This has taken me the last 2 years to understand that. Like, you write for what you want to read. You write for what you like. And then people will fall into it. So if you want to write about dogs who like cats and they get in a relationship, well then you better effing write about them dogs and cats and they love triangle and whatever they doing. Because that's what you want to read. It's not about what everybody else wants. And even if anybody never, ever reads your book, it's the fact that you have something that you can show people with your name that you publish and you feel good about it. That's all that matters, is how you feel at the end of the day about your work. But once again, I'm TJW the author. I will have more book tips. I try to do them every Sunday for you guys. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, definitely contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, email, whatever. Like, I will answer you guys' questions. My email address is TJWtheAuthor. And also, if you want to have your books reviewed, definitely email me at TJWtheAuthor@gmail.com. I will get back to you as soon as I can, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, share, let people know what's going on, and definitely make sure you check out any authors that I put up on the channel for reviews, just to show us love. Like, this is a hard community to get through, being a self-published indie author. But I hope y'all enjoy your week. Thanks for watching, and definitely get back to me next week when I have more videos for you guys. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe.